Virgin Radio.
What are the most annoying sounds to human beings? What's the most annoying sound?
Someone singing who can't sing and should not sing.
Really?
Like, if you're a bad singer, that's fine. But, like, if there are some people who are horrifically bad at singing, it's like, just leave it to the experts.
Chewing with your mouth open. I can't. Oh,
Adam.
like...
Stop it.
You know, like that?
Even when my dog, like, licks his mouth, I hate it.
Really?
Like, I put the fan on at night so I can't hear him.
When they lick their paws.
Oh, it's just like, enough. Enough.
Wow.
Someone scraping their fingernails down the aluminum siding of a house.
Oh, TJ.
So according to, they actually, Gizmodo went around and asked, like, for instance, this is Florian Hallweger. Okay. She's an assistant professor, audio arts and acoustics. So this is somebody at Columbia College in Chicago. She said the most annoying sound for a human, as we all know, is the sound of chalkboard scraping, which has never bothered me too much.
I've never hated that. I think it was just like blown up.
I don't even like the sound of chalk on the chalkboard.
Really?
Yeah,
I
something
find it
about
soothing. It's time to learn.
A neighbor's DIY drilling. This is according to a professor of acoustics at Salford. How about this one? The sound of vomiting.
Yeah.
It elicits a visceral response.
If you've lived in the condo, you might have heard your neighbors.
Have you really?
I hear my neighbor like a couple times a month.
Are they good?
I
Are
hope
they okay?
so. Yeah.
You should check in.
Maybe I should.
Okay.
You know what? We just unearthed a different issue, didn't we?
A stomach ache.
Producer Jesse looked up from his work like, uh-oh.
I gotta stop thinking out loud.
I think the thing that bothers me the most, honestly, is, and this is going to sound super weird because you have to do it all the time, dishes clanking together as you're taking them out of the dishwasher. I
Really?
do everything I possibly can to like take them out single file because I hate when dishes come together and that,
Yeah.
you know, that I forget what, I don't even know what dishes are made of. I know it sounds ridiculous, but what's the, it's like that pottery...
Ceramic?
Ceramic, there it is. I couldn't think of the word. When ceramic hits, I cannot stand that sound.
When the dishes go, like the rack slams at the back.
Oh,
like,
I don't mind that.
No, I hate that. See, the trick is just don't have a dishwasher. I don't mind the sound of like when I do the dishes, but when they're like hitting each other too hard, it gets on my nerves.
Hey, stop ruining my morning with nasty noises. How about this? Okay. We got a bunch of text messages. Crying baby. Okay. With you
Yeah.
until it's your baby.
Yeah.
And then you're like, it either breaks your heart or you just ignore it.
See, I'm not willing to take part in that experiment.
Well, you're not having kids?
I don't know, but
Oh, okay.
I fear finding out whether or not I'm going to find my baby's cry just as annoying as any other baby.
Honestly, it does sort of change. Like you really, and in fact, it's funny when other people are around, when other people were around, they're not anymore, but when Everly, my daughter, would start crying, because kids at a certain point, because they can't express themselves, cry at everything. Like I had to take a toy away from her last night and she just had a total meltdown. And so it's like, okay, so that's the fake cry. Here's the real I'm in pain or I'm hungry or whatever cry. That sort of just becomes a noise. And other people's babies crying now, I actually sort of enjoy it because it's weird.
Yeah, no.
Because
Adam,
because
I
you know
love the sound of babies crying.
You remember that when they were young and they were small and they were like, and you're like, oh, like that. It just needs like you have compassion.
Yeah.
Which is, I'm with TJ. Before Everly, I was like, babies, ew, get away.
But I remember reading also somewhere that it's actually hard for women to hear other babies crying because it like triggers this like emotional response, like a maternal instinct where you want to help a baby because it's like it's your instinct,
Whereas guys are like, no,
I gotta run away.
I gotta get to Foot Locker. Stop crying in the mall.
I gotta go to Foot Locker.
Here's one. We got one from Ajax Pickering. The most annoying sounds: humming.
How are you guys with whistling? No, I don't ask how talented you are.
I'm extremely good at it.
Do you find it annoying?
No, not really.
I used to have an ex-girlfriend that whistled all the time, and I kind of found it charming.
So when I was a landscaper, TJ, along this line, like when I was like 15, there was an old man's house that we went and worked on. And we used to do these, patterned concrete. They call it stamped concrete. So you put the big rubber stamps down on semi-wet concrete with this black release powder stuff, and you stamp on it, and it looks like stonework. But obviously it's not. It's a very cheap way to do stonework, and it's great. So this old man, for some reason, he hired us, but then he wanted to help us. And really, he just ended up getting in the way because he couldn't, his knees weren't good or whatever. And he would, he would sit beside us as we're putting the forms down and stuff. And this is like a stairway up the side of his house.
Yeah.
And he didn't know that we knew that he was saying it or doing it, but he would be like this.
Oh.
and he would just doesn't sound bad now, but imagine that for hours and hours, and it's 35 degrees and it's stinking hot, and a guy's just beside you going.
A guy getting in the way, kind of whistling.
Yes. Oh my God.
Oh man.
Anyway, we got another text message, Teach?
From the 905, drunken man snoring.
Drunken man snoring. What is that a thing?
You know that. That's where you lose all inhibitions. You're probably nude and you're starfished on the bed and you're.
It's not even. It's not even drunken men. It's drunken anyone. Like when I used to drink and snore, it was disgusting.
Yeah.
An ex recorded my snoring, and I was like, oh wow.
It's the darkest version of yourself, isn't it?
It is. It's thick.
So I went to Nashville because I wanted to see a Stanley Cup final game in 2016, and I was lucky enough to get a ticket.
Yeah.
And tickets there are, by the way, like a tenth of what they would be here. Like they're nothing. And my friend Steve and actually producer Jesse came on the trip, and we had to split an Airbnb, and we had $0 after buying those tickets. So there were 2 beds. It was a basement. And producer Jesse, you remember this? Steve and I got stuck in the same bed.
Yeah, and I got my own solo bed.
And so
you're huge.
I woke up one morning and Steve was almost spooned against me, and it's just this big, deep guttural. So I recorded it, and then when he stopped, I played it in his ear and woke him up to it. I was like, "How does it feel?"
You guys are 30 years old and you're still children.
I love it.
So hit us up 416-872-9999 999 and text the sounds that drive you crazy. The snores. I mean, I think that's obvious. It's Drake. Laugh now, cry later. Virgin Radio.
Yeah. Sometimes we laugh.